we going to do today, brain? Something a little different to our other videos, Becky. We're going to try and save the world. With science. Hello, my name's Rebecca and I'm a neuroscientist here to talk to you about all things neuro and science. And today, in honour of Dementia Action Week here in the UK, which was actually last week, but I'm going to answer one of the top questions I get asked as a dementia researcher. So, can we cure dementia? You see, dementia is a very important topic to me, both as a researcher, it's what I do, but also personally. Like so many of us, I've had family members suffer from dementia, and I think it's a pretty uncontroversial take to say it sucks. One of the particularly sucky things about it, in my opinion, is that it's progressive. It gets worse rather than getting better, and it just makes it feel like there's so little we can do to stop it, or even just slow it down for a while. If dementia is a bit of a triggery topic for you and you want to skip this video, I completely understand. But let's see if we can use some scientific information to make this topic seem a little less scary and maybe find some hope in the darkness. There have actually been some pretty exciting advances in dementia research over the last few years, and you might have seen some news articles suggesting that a cure for dementia is just around the corner. So is that true? What can we do right now to help people with dementia, and is there a miracle drug coming soon to help us stop it altogether? Well, to fully understand the answer to this question, I think we need to establish a few things first. So let's kick off with everybody's favourite part of research, numbers! No? Just me? Got it. It's estimated that 57 million people currently suffer from dementia worldwide, and that number is only set to rise because most countries also have an ageing population. Age is the biggest risk factor for dementia. Between the ages of 65 to 69, it's estimated that 2 in every 100 people suffer from dementia. But that figure doubles for every 5 years after. So there's 4 in every 100 people in the 70 to 75 bracket, and 8 in every 100 people in the 75 to 80 bracket, and so on and so forth. So an older population means more people living with dementia. But I should also stress that your individual risk is actually at an all-time low. So you sat there right now, your risk of getting dementia has actually never been lower. Hooray! But at a population level, the numbers are increasing because of that ageing population. And that is especially true in low and middle income countries. But what exactly is dementia? Because there's a lot of information flying around about it. I mean, looking at the tabloids, the dementia crisis, it's out of control, but also chocolate can halt dementia, apparently. Great, or your risk increases if you live near a busy road, or there's toxic air, whatever that means. Ugh. Looking at the tabloids, everything either cures or causes dementia. So what are we actually up against here? First off, dementia is actually an umbrella term for a number of neurodegenerative diseases that cause a gradual decline in your brain function. If we look at the word itself, neurodegenerative, it means neuro, brain, as in neuroscience, and degenerate, lose. I get asked a lot if dementia is a physical illness, and the answer is yes. You are quite literally losing parts of your brain gradually over many years. And quite understandably, this can change the way you think and interact with the world around you. And different types of dementias cause you to lose different parts of your brain first, which means you get different symptoms. Alzheimer's disease is the most common cause of dementia. That's another question I get asked a lot. Alzheimer's, dementia, are they the same thing? Are they different things? What's the deal? There's your answer. Alzheimer's is the most common cause of dementia. It's estimated that 60 to 70% of dementias are Alzheimer's. And because of this, Alzheimer's has a lot of the very classic symptoms that people think of when they think dementia. The top one being memory loss. Now, everyone starts to worry about their memory after a certain age. It's a very common complaint and most of the time completely normal. If you've forgotten where you've left your glasses or you walked into a room and immediately forgotten what you walked in for, totally fine, we are not worried about you, okay? But in Alzheimer's disease, this memory loss can really start to affect one's ability to live day to day. they might start to forget important medications or even family members, which can be absolutely heartbreaking. People often assume that those with Alzheimer's will lose their oldest memories first, but it's actually the other way around. They lose their memories of yesterday long before they lose their memories of 50 years ago. And though this may seem strange, it actually does make sense when you think about it. Older memories that have been in the brain for longer, they've been remembered more and thought about more. They have more connections holding them in place. Whereas that's not the case for more recent memories, and so they're the first to go. People with Alzheimer's disease can also struggle with their sense of direction, and this means that they will often get lost both in space and time, struggling to know when and where they are. This, understandably, can also cause some anxiety and agitation. But Alzheimer's disease is far from being the only cause of dementia. Vascular dementia, the second most common, shares a lot of symptoms with Alzheimer's in people often being disoriented and confused, but has a different underlying cause. Vascular here refers to our heart. You see, the brain is a hungry organ. It takes a lot of oxygen to keep running. And so if we have difficulties in blood flow, the brain can start to suffer. As a general rule, what is good for your heart is good for your head. What is good for your body is good for your brain. And this is why exercise is so important in reducing your risk of dementia. In Lewy body dementia, memory is actually much less of a concern, and we start to see symptoms like hallucinating, seeing things that aren't there, and also trouble sleeping. Now here again, lots of people over a certain age have trouble sleeping, most of it totally fine. We're talking about a very specific type of trouble sleeping here, called REM sleep behavioural disorder. You see, a lot of people seem to assume that when you go to sleep, your brain goes to sleep too, and this is simply not true. Your brain is actually as active when you're asleep as when you're awake, particularly in the part of sleep where you dream, which is known as REM sleep, or rapid eye movement sleep. So in this stage of sleep, your brain actually paralyzes you from the neck down to stop you acting out your dreams. This is why a lot of people walk and talk in their sleep as children, but then grow out of it as their brain develops more and paralyzes them a little bit better. In Lewy body dementia, this part of the brain is dying away, and so that paralysis isn't operating as well, and people often start walking and talking in their sleep again. Now, this can not only be dangerous for their partner or anyone they sleep with, as they may be lashing out, but also very dangerous for them. You see, Lewy body dementia often comes with another neurodegenerative disease, Parkinson's. And Parkinson's has a hallmark feature which involves being unsteady on your feet. Unsteady plus unconscious is a bad combination. And finally, right down at this end of the scale, the rarest form of dementia and the type that I actually specialise in, frontotemporal dementia. People with frontotemporal dementia can have a wide range of symptoms that can affect their behaviour, making them impulsive, doing things they probably shouldn't do, but also apathetic, losing motivation to do, well, anything really. They can also have difficulties with language, forgetting the meaning of words rather than forgetting events in their lives, and also struggling to actually make speech. You know, that tip of the tongue experience you get sometimes where you know what you want to say but you just can't quite find the words? That's kind of similar to what some people with frontotemporal dementia might experience, but all the time. So, problem number one with treating dementia, even though we hear dementia often just referred to as dementia, there are actually lots of different types and causes, making it very unlikely that one drug will fix all of it. And that ties into problem number two. What's the target? I mean, we know the overall goal is to fix dementia, but we can't make a working drug with the goal fix dementia. We need a specific biological target, something the drug can interact with or act on. Some drugs will block the release of chemicals from the brain. That's how painkillers work. Others will trick the brain into thinking there's more of a chemical than there is. That's how antidepressants work. And others will interact with systems already going on in our body, like the immune system. That's how vaccines work. So how would our drug work? What's the specific target? Current treatments we have for dementia are based on those first two options, on shifting the balance of chemicals in the brain to try and improve symptoms for people living with dementia. In Alzheimer's, for example, common drugs include, I'm going to try and say it, donepezil and rivastigmine, both of which are examples of acetylcholine esterase inhibitors. In actual English, what that means is that these drugs boost a chemical called acetylcholine in the brain. Acetylcholine is a neurotransmitter, meaning it helps cells communicate with each other. It helps them transmit information. So the hope is that by boosting the amount of acetylcholine in the brain, we can let cells talk to each other much more effectively and improve symptoms for a lot of people. Other drugs like memantine actually have the opposite effect, working to reduce the amount of a chemical in the brain called glutamate, as this is often produced too much in brains with Alzheimer's, and that can lead to more damage as well. In general, both these sets of drugs are working to alter chemicals in the brain to bring it back into a balanced state where it can function better. We also can't underestimate the power of non-drugs in improving people's lives. Music therapy, art therapy, doll therapy, all proven to do a world of good. Remember, people can live for many years with dementia, and a dementia diagnosis does not automatically mean that life is over, though it certainly can feel that way. Life will absolutely change, and accommodations will have to be put in place to deal with that, but I like to think we can still find some joy even in those dark times. My mum is the producer of a puppetry company that makes theatre for a wide variety of audiences, but including people with dementia. And she'll tell you firsthand how much people can still just absolutely light up. So we have some effective treatments for dementia now. Why aren't they a cure? Because they don't fix the root cause. And this means, unfortunately, the brain will continue to decline, and eventually these drugs won't be as effective because there's just not enough brain left to act on. We don't have anything that can stop dementia in its tracks or even slow it down. Except that now, for the first time, we actually do. In 2021, the Food and Drug Administration in the US approved the first ever drug that slows down Alzheimer's disease. It's called aducanumab, and it works by harnessing the power of our immune system. MAB stands for monoclonal antibodies, those things that protect you against infections, but this time working to destroy something in the brain called amyloid. Now, amyloid is a protein, a building block of the brain, kind of like Lego, but in dementia it starts to go wrong and stick together, forming these clumps that we call plaques. We think that amyloid plaques are a key part of what causes Alzheimer's disease, and so by getting rid of them, we hope that we can slow down the disease over time. And we did. Aducanumab and other drugs since have successfully slowed down Alzheimer's disease by clearing out amyloid, and that is awesome. Do you sense a but coming? The decision to approve aducanumab was controversial for a number of reasons. The first is that the effect they found actually wasn't that big. It does slow down Alzheimer's disease, but not by much. Lecanemab, one of its successors, is estimated to slow down Alzheimer's by about 4 to 6 months, but only in people with mild to moderate Alzheimer's disease, and not everyone can take it. And also, it's not a pill you take, but it's actually an infusion that you have, so you have to go into hospital every couple of weeks. And this means that of the 520,000 people estimated to have Alzheimer's in the UK, only about 70,000 people would be eligible to take this drug. And putting this all together, none of the MABs have actually been approved for treatment in the UK. So why is this still so exciting? Because we got one. We have been researching dementia for over 100 years, and this is the first drug we've got approved that really does slow down Alzheimer's disease. All right, it might not be perfect, but it is a start. The gate is open. Just a few years ago, big pharmaceutical companies like AstraZeneca and Pfizer were pulling out of the dementia game. There was no profit to be found here, and now us researchers have a renewed vigor to find that blockbuster drug. Because did you think we were stopping there? Oh no, my friend. In 2024, there were 164 trials of 127 drugs targeting Alzheimer's disease, and we're branching out. We're trying new proteins, we're trying new systems, we're trying other neurodegenerative diseases. As someone who gets to sit in the conferences as researchers discuss the latest findings on finding a cure, I can tell you it is such an exciting time to get to sit in those rooms. Every meeting it feels like there's someone talking about a new way to deliver a drug or a new target, more research, more ideas, more hope. And not just for dementia, but for Parkinson's, Huntington's, and many more. So, do we have a cure for dementia? My answer right now, not yet. But there is a shift coming, and I have a lot of hope that one day soon, maybe even in my lifetime, the answer will be yes. If you have any questions about the neuroscience we've discussed today or ideas for future videos, please do leave a comment down below. But other than that, I think it's time for me to head back to the lab and think about what I'll do for the next video. And in the meantime, please do let me know of any progress you make in trying to make the world a better place. With science.